Hi, I'm Ali from PCGamesN, and recently I got to go hands-on with Rage 2, the upcoming shooter made in partnership between id and Avalanche. Now, you'd expect a game made by the masterminds behind Doom and Just Cause to soar out of the gate beautifully formed, and when other members of the PCGamesN team played Rage 2 at E3 and Gamescom, it appeared that it was on track to be great. But after playing the game myself, I have a few reservations. And that's what this video is all about. 3 reasons why I'm concerned for Rage 2's well-being. But before we start, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more hot takes like this one. From the moment I set eyes upon it, Rage 2's open world looks beautiful. Heat haze shimmers up as the sun beats down on the desert sand, roads wind into the valley below and mountains rise up in the distance. But for all its spectacle, Rage 2's open world currently feels a little empty. There's surprisingly little to see as you drive around. You might stop at a fuel station filled with goons, obliterate them and collect the rewards, but afterwards there's not much to do but drive away and ransack the next outpost. To make matters worse, it feels as though the enemies don't have anything better to do than wait for you to show up and shoot them. Even in the post-apocalypse, that's a substandard existence, and I'm worried about their work-life balance. Occasionally a convoy may come racing past you, chasing some poor soul shouting for help. You can engage in a chase, but during my hands-on I found these road battles felt little more Mario Kart than Mad Max. No bad thing necessarily, but I wanted a bit more rough and tumble. And beyond the convoys and chases, I found there wasn't anything more for me to get my teeth into in the open world. To make things worse, towards the end of my time with the game, I lost my car. Much like doing the same in Slough, becoming a pedestrian caused the emptiness of Rage 2's world to hit home. I should have taken more care of my buggy, of course, but walking towards the nearest point of interest using my superpowered dash every few seconds got pretty tedious pretty quickly. And in the end, I was just glad when some distant bad guys started taking pot shots at me. At least it gave me something to do. Pretty much every major character I've met so far in Rage 2 is repulsive. Not quite Resident Evil repulsive, admittedly, but definitely the kind of person you wouldn't want to be stuck talking to at a party.
Impressive.
The one exception, Lusum Hagar, mayor of local hubtown Wellsprings, is actually reasonably pleasant to be around. Given the despicable nature of some of the other characters you'll come across, she seems to have her head screwed on the right way, and in my hands-on was polite enough to only try to kill me a little bit. But beyond Hagar, things get pretty gross. The next character I come across is the despicable host of a TV show that pits me against a gauntlet full of armed mutants. Think Borderlands' Mad Moxie, but 30 years of substance abuse later, and flanked by underwear-clad weirdos in massive baby heads. I was disturbed from the moment I arrived, but she then did her utmost to murder me under the guise of entertainment. We haven't stayed in touch.
Connoisseur.
Later, I find Clegg Clayton, who manages to be the worst of a bad bunch. With a wrestling belt strewn across the love child of a Hawaiian t-shirt and a baseball top, I barely know where to look first. His personality is just as egocentric and aggressive, and comes with zero understanding of personal space. Unfortunately, he's also a pretty sensitive soul, and it didn't take long before I'd bruised his ego to the point where he drops me, quite literally, into one of the dullest boss fights I've ever experienced. I get that the post-apocalypse rarely shines a light on the best of humanity, but there's nothing gripping about the characters in Rage 2. These bad guys lack the depth that would make them interesting, and instead, they just seem awful for the sake of being awful. Rage 2's driving is a bit loose. In some cases, this might be the most forgivable flaw in the game. I don't imagine many apocalypses maintain high standards of auto repair. But this game comes from the same studio that made Mad Max, a game that's all about a bunch of spiky mechanics. That was always my understanding of it, at least. Now, id points out that the driving physics aren't yet final, but given that we're just a few months from launch, the way my bucket of bolts slides around all over the road is relatively concerning. This is a game that asks you to crisscross a sizable open world, and so the poor vehicle handling in the demo quickly becomes frustrating. This looseness is particularly evident when I take part in a high-speed car race. I manage to scrape a win, but then find out I have to drive all the way back to Wellsprings. Thankfully, I've already visited my next objective, so I'm able to use the fast travel option.
Hey, great lightning over here.
Perhaps id and Avalanche's game is a high-concept meditation on frustration, the message being that the rage was in me all along. If so, the small portion I've seen is a resounding success. If not, well, I really hope there's time for significant tweaks before the game releases in May. If you share my concerns for Rage 2, please do hit that like button, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to PCGamesN for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.